In this module, we will be learning about the Earned Income Disallowance. So first, let's begin with how an individual or a family can qualify for the Earned Income Disallowance. EID has specific regulations for both the Housing Choice Voucher Program and public housing. For the Housing Choice Voucher Program, this is a self-sufficiency incentive for persons with disabilities. It is a disallowance of an increase in annual income. For public housing, this is a self-sufficiency incentive. It is a disallowance of an increase in annual income. So folks, keep that in mind that as we go through EID and we learn how to calculate the disallowance, this is a disallowance of an increase in annual income. The disallowance of increase in annual income is basically the same for both the Housing Choice Voucher and public housing programs. The primary difference is that for the Housing Choice Voucher program, the disallowance only applies to a person with disabilities. So therefore, the individual who goes to work must be a person with disabilities and qualify as a person with disabilities under HUD's regulations and definition of being disabled. So for the public housing program, any adult family member can qualify for EID. For the Housing Choice Voucher program, any adult member who is a person with disabilities can potentially qualify for the Earned Income Disallowance. The disallowance itself is an exclusion from annual income. In order for a family to qualify for EID, we have to have a family residing in housing assisted under the Housing Choice Voucher program, or we have a family who's residing in public housing. Now, in order to qualify for the Earned Income Disallowance, because it is EID, Earned Income Disallowance, the increase in annual income must result from employment. So the first way an individual can qualify is someone whose annual income increases as a result of employment of a family member who was unemployed for 1 or more years previous to becoming employed. Now keep in mind, for the Housing Choice Voucher program, the person who actually goes to work must be a person with disabilities. So as long as someone has been unemployed for 1 or more years previous to getting this job, then they can qualify for EID. Well, what HUD did is they expanded the definition of previously unemployed, because you could have had someone who worked a little bit throughout the last 12-month period. So HUD says previously unemployed also includes a person who has earned in the 12 months previous to employment no more than would be received for 10 hours of work per week for 50 weeks at the established minimum wage. Well, which minimum wage do we use? You're going to use the highest minimum wage out of your local, state, or federal minimum wage. Basically, what we're doing is we're taking 500 hours times minimum wage, whatever that dollar amount is. If the individual who got a job earned less than 500 hours times minimum wage in the last 12-month period of time, then that person qualifies for the Earned Income Disallowance. And remember, with the Housing Choice Voucher program, the person who goes to work must be a person with disabilities. Now, the second way someone can qualify for EID is someone whose annual income increases as a result of increased earnings by a family member during participation in any economic self-sufficiency or other job training program. The key here is that the family member who either went to work or had an increase in their annual income as a result of wages must actually be participating in an economic self-sufficiency program or other job training program. Not enrolled in the program, but they must actually be participating in such program. The third way someone can qualify for EID is someone whose annual income increases as a result of new employment or increased earnings of a family member during or within 6 months after receiving assistance, benefits, or services for needy families. So what we're talking about here is the cash aid, the welfare assistance, for example, TANF, as well as welfare to work programs. And again, if this is a housing choice voucher family, the person who goes to work must be a person with disabilities. Now, as long as the person who qualifies for EID has received TANF within the last 6-month period, any dollar amount, even if it was just $1 in the last 6-month period, if it was TANF cash aid assistance, then they qualify for EID. Now, HUD expanded this third qualifying factor because the TANF program is not limited to monthly income maintenance, but it also includes such benefits and services as one-time payments, wage subsidies, and transportation assistance. However, provided that the total amount over that previous 6-month period is at least $500. So really, when someone calls you and reports that they went to work or had an increase in earnings, then we need to take a look and see, does this individual qualify for EID? Even though HUD has 3 regulatory ways to qualify for EID, really there's 5 different ways. So as long as you can answer yes to any one of these questions, if we answer yes to one of these questions, then that individual qualifies for EID.